secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away while other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure in the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
Calvin Klein genes.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney, Casper Keynes.
Less than 50% of children born today in the U.S. are white. I'm white, my kids are white. There is something to your background that informs who you are, your sense of identity, and we don't want that sense of identity being taken away from us involuntarily. So we're taking control of that situation. We are forced to accept people into our neighborhoods, into our businesses, and into our lives who won't share our background, who won't share many of our cultural priors, even moral priors.
My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney, Casper Keynes.
Hello, netizens. This is your host, Venus, and you are tuned in to Live on Venus. Now, you just saw a couple of clips that have gone viral in the last couple of weeks because far-right nationalism is coming to a head. It is no longer something in the secret. This is something that is out in the open, and therefore something that we should talk about. At this point, there's no point in denying how some people feel. Even though we live in a globalized world, this is not the want or desire for some people. And if they want to move up to Arkansas and allow the rest of the world to keep on spinning without them, so be it. But let's all remember that these people do exist, and the next time you want to gaslight people of color and Black people into believing otherwise, just refer back to this video. All right, let's keep watching.
About tribal warfare. Okay. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the UK. You're from India, so I don't really...
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, yeah. So
I'm an American
you
citizen.
have your own stakes.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Not sure how you got that, okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
But you're
than
a
yours.
descendant of immigrants. Settlers.
I didn't know.
Colonialists.
Yeah,
you
colonials.
You don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
You're
Whites
not.
are Native Americans.
Really?
I mean, at this rate, we should just restart the entire timeline. Instead of saying that we're in 2025, we can start the timeline of history from 1492 when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Because in order for white people to be native to America, obviously, you would have to erase the history of the people that were there before, which is implied with the statement. But let's continue on. This next clip comes from a YouTube video titled Return to the Land that covers white Americans who are seeking to segregate themselves in Arkansas to preserve white American history, cultures, tradition, and most importantly,
Keynes.
You want a white nation? Build a white town. It can be done, and we're doing it. What we've done here is establish a place where we have control over who our neighbors are, and that is just for the sake of preserving, our culture.
And that culture, effectively, we're saying this is a white culture, a whites-only place.
White American culture. Yeah, not just white, but white American.
But what this sounds like is bringing back segregation. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I mean, it's free association. So we're not trying to keep other people down. This is a small settlement in the middle of the Ozarks.
You want a white nation? Build a white town. It can be done, and we're doing it.
Look how innocent his sweet blue eyes are. He doesn't want to dominate the world. He just wants a white utopia.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States.
Friendly reminder that this was the first time Donald Trump won. Imagine how hard he was the second time Donald Trump won.
If you were to deport all illegal immigrants, if you were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority.
I'm for defending the traditional demographics of this country, which is majority white,
so
and it should stay that way.
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive. Is that so strange? We don't.
The idea of survival is interesting because it's obviously something that we can empathize with as empathetic people, but this is not a matter of survival. We are all humans. What is it really about?
Control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And if we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore.
The way I'd be gagging on my steak. Control. It's all about power and control.
Would you say that you wouldn't want me in this country?
At some point, when my ancestors built this nation, they did not build it with the intention of giving it away to Mexicans or Chinese or Haitians or to anyone else.
Do you consider it, you keep saying your ancestors built this country, you consider that a fact?
Who else built it?
Black people, Native Americans, Chinese people who came and built the railroads.
Explaining white supremacy to colored people must be so hard. What is this guy not getting? Anything great that happened in the world is attributed to white people and white people alone. If coloreds had anything to do with it, it is at the behest or at the request of white people. Duh. This is how white supremacy works. It's all about control of the narrative, control of the resources. I mean, if we all have it, then it's not white supremacy. Duh.
On our laws. What about those of us who don't ignore the borders? Should we get to stay?
Of course.
But he says we shouldn't.
Well, I'm not debating him.
You kind of are because you're all together on this.
No, I'm debating you.
Okay. And I'm pointing out to you that your argument is in bad faith because these guys are actually speaking the truth and you're in denial about who's on your side. He wants you gone.
As all of these ideas of wishing to preserve a way of life, these are legitimate for all people. And to somehow say that only for white people, that this can lead to this, this can lead to that.
Sorry, white people are the people
that
are responsible for Holocaust against my people.
Okay.
And they are also responsible for slavery against black people. Right. And they are also responsible for what happened to Native Americans in this country.
Are you somehow...
But let's focus on Holocaust right now.
Well, look, are you somehow suggesting that whites are uniquely evil people?
No.
Well, then, okay, practically every people in the entire world, the Jewish people had slaves, Asians had slaves, Africans had slaves. People throughout history have conquered territories and slaughtered the occupants. Somehow it is only white people about whom this is brought up.
I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills because that's the whole thing.
How do you know?
Carl Schmitt
Autocrats tend to kill everyone, even their own supporters.
Carl Schmitt makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl Schmitt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad.
We may have to rename this show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you could say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am.
The entire transatlantic slave trade, you may or may not be aware, an approximately equal number of blacks were taken by Arabs out of Africa into the Middle East. Why are there so few blacks in the Middle East now? It's because they were used as slaves, the men were castrated, and they have left no descendants. But somehow it is the slave trade across the Atlantic by white people that is somehow this great scourge of humanity. Slavery still exists in Africa, but somehow it is slavery in the United States 150 years ago that all of humanity is supposed to weep over. Again, you are talking in terms that single out white people for special moral condemnation, do not accord them the rights that you unconsciously allow every other group, and you are setting up rules whereby only white people are not allowed to take the simplest steps necessary to ensure their survival.
YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
During
the
pre-war period, prior to World War II, it was only those parties that properly enacted the people's will. That's why they won. The conservatives were fat cats. They were aristocrats. They didn't care.
Are you in favor of killing people who aren't like you?
Quite frankly, I'm not.
You mentioned Franco earlier. Franco killed a lot of innocent people.
Oh, well, he killed communists. He killed people who raped nuns and killed priests.
What about children who he killed and women who he killed?
What are you talking about? He never killed any women or children. He was Catholic,
He only killed combatants. Is that what you're claiming?
Yeah, he only killed combatants.
Never killed any innocent people.
The White Terror was only punishing those people who did acts of terrorism. And again,
I wouldn't have ever
see your
guessed.
face, and what I want to ask you is, am I your enemy?
You're not subjectively my enemy, but what you are promoting will lead to the disappearance of my people and my culture. And I will tell you this, it annoys me tremendously when I'm told by some immigrant or a child of immigrants that the only reason my country is worthwhile is because people like them have come here. It's as if to say, my ancestors built a dung heap, and I don't doubt your goodwill. But your goodwill is objectively going to lead to the oblivion of my people. I'm sorry, there is no other way to see it.
What happens when people that are white or perceived as white desire to deconstruct all the benefits they have from white supremacy? And why is it that white people don't seem to resonate with cultures of their homeland, like Irish culture, Scottish culture, whatever it may be? Because whiteness and cultural identity are enemies. They can't exist in the same space, and they work to destroy each other. Ethnic identity is a plant that belongs in the ground. It flourishes, it grows, it thrives. Whiteness is an invasive plant, or better yet, a pesticide. It doesn't do anything but choke out what belongs there, to replace it with whatever someone else is designing artificially. So while whiteness cannot exist without overt destruction, ethnicity thrives and grows on its own, like if you leave a field alone for long enough, natural flowers will just pop up. So how do you reclaim this thriving when all this whiteness over here exists? I have the privilege of being from a culture that is not fully eradicated. I'm from the Appalachian Mountains. It is in recent generational memory that people of Appalachia went from perceiving themselves as Appalachian to instead seeing themselves as like white Southerners. That ethnic identity, tying yourself to the American highlands, to the mountains, is something that does not fit cleanly within white supremacy, which is one of the reasons that white media propagandizes and stigmatizes Appalachia. You'll find that with a lot of cultures. So like Appalachia, Cajun culture, Italian culture, Irish culture, Polish culture to a lesser extent, but sometimes. As a rule of thumb, if there's a light-skinned culture in the United States that you've been taught through media is something to mock or belittle, it is most likely a preserved ethnicity that is trying to be eradicated. So as someone that's worked to reclaim my crossroads culture, while also understanding my long since past indigeneity, I've gotten to understand what whiteness took away from people. If you are white or perceived as white or are predominantly European and pass as white, here's what you used to be. Just picture this with me. You used to belong to a land that belonged to your ancestors. And those ancestors told stories in their own language of magics and gods and prepared for holidays that came from your place, that were centered around your family's thriving instead of consumption. You had sports, you had songs, you had a way of being that was connected to your neighbors and the land. You had home, and it was a sense of home that wasn't tied to $1. But because your ancestors looked enough like the people who were oppressing them. They could be assimilated. They got brought in and their language got taken from them and their songs got taken from them and they were converted from their gods to a new religion instead of a tribal place. You used to be native, but that happened so long ago that what you remember as your culture is not who your ancestors were, but instead the people that destroyed them. That's not an opening step, but that realization, that piece, will lead you eventually to a despising of whiteness. Because it took everything from you. And that gap you feel in here that makes you want to pick and choose of, take from other religions and take from black culture and take from other established ethnicities. That desire in you is because the one that you were supposed to have was taken so long ago that you don't even know what it looks like. Now, the hard news is you can't go back there. You can't become native again. The place that belonged to you doesn't belong to you anymore. And that place doesn't even remember your name. But you do exist where you are. And there can be a crossroads culture established, developed, and maintained and protected. So my advice is, number one, stop mocking light-skinned ethnicities as if they're just grabbing at something. They're yearning for a wholeness that we all have lost. Second, learn what it means to belong to a people and a place and a land again. But just like if you're trying to grow a natural garden while still using pesticides, you're going to be investing a lot of time and energy and killing the very thing you're trying to grow. And you'll create this poisoned thing that you never wanted in the first place. So while learning about the pieces of the culture you come from, you must also spend time reflecting on how that would have been taken from you and what would have been put in its place. Keep in mind that your people were assimilated over a long time. And if you try to de-assimilate, decolonize yourself too quickly, you'll find yourself cosplaying the ethnicity that you used to belong to while still upholding white supremacy at the same time. Learn as much as you can about what fully functioning life would have looked like for the people that you belong to. And then learn who took it from them and what they took. To talk about the Western world for a second, I'm from Appalachia. I had people that came here and preserved an ethnic identity, if not creating one, and that was a crossroads culture where they collided with other cultures and became a new people. Learn how they navigated their lives, and then what got taken from them. What you'll slowly be able to develop is kind of a list of what it meant to be whole and what it was taken and what it was replaced with. Right then, you learn the recipe. Since both can't exist in the same space, that's how you got assimilated into whiteness, right? You can learn to replant the garden within your very own bones of who you are supposed to be and what you belong to, while also avoiding the poisons that prevent that growth and turn it into something you don't want.
Here's the thing. White people have been under attack for years. It's been systematic racism. As much as Black people and people of color want to talk about systematic racism in the United States, it's quite the opposite. They get preferential treatment when it comes to getting a job, when it comes to getting into colleges. White people, on the other hand, have been getting attacked relentlessly. Look at 2016 and BLM and all the riots. We just had to sit back and watch people burn down our cities and do nothing about it. So the way to fight back against essentially this anti-white hatred that's been systemically, ingrained in U.S. society is with white unity. We don't see white unity on our side.
Hang on. Okay, but hang on. Sorry, just to be clear, this has got nothing to do with anything you've just said. This is a disgusting racist woman who repeatedly spews the M-word, first at a young child and then at the person taking the video of her, does it with complete impunity, does it numerous times. We are talking about a bona fide, unquestionable racist. And so I don't understand why what you've just said to me bears any relation to white unity or anything that you've just said. She's just a racist. End, isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
It's not about her. It's not about her. It's about
white people
coming together and supporting another white person. And it doesn't matter.
Why would you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country.
No,
if you
that's
have...
fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. She is. I mean, would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would.
I do quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist, are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah. Well, if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you? Are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different.
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate
to
use the
about
N-word?
black people.
When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about?
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist, and you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
Well, shame on white people for allowing themselves to be systematically discriminated against in the United States. This is our country. This is a country that should be.
What do you mean your country?
Because I'm white and my
What, there are no black people in American history? Is that what you're saying? That they've all just landed in America, invading your white country? Is that your position?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they were brought here technically.
My God, do you understand how dumb you sound?
This is stupid. This is stupid and racist, and at some point we have to ask ourselves, do we want to reward this kind of disgusting behavior by platforming it?
Whoa. Wow. That was a lot. And obviously there is way more content like that out there on the internet. But I just wanted to show you a couple of clips that I found on the internet. Please let me know what you guys think about this conversation. Is this something you guys are talking about in your current circles? What are your opinions? What are your thoughts? And how do you think the country should move forward? Do you think this is a small sect of people, or do you think this is an ever-growing problem in America? All right, everyone. Thank you for visiting me here on Venus. I invite you to come live on Venus once in a while. It was great having you, and I'll see you in the next one.
Into the streets, they are building their own for generations to come.
It's important for me to do this for my ancestors, my friends, my family, my children, my children's children.
But in this southern US